Testing mic. Good, it's working. Hello, Happy New Year! It's 2026 now, and I'm gonna have to get used to saying that it's 2026. I haven't had to fill out any paperwork yet, but I'm not gonna be used to having to write /26 on everything. Usually takes me about a month or two to get used to that. Sometimes longer, depending on how much I'm writing. Anyhow, this is the first One Piece chapter that we'll be reading this year. It's chapter 1170. 1170. So, I'm trying to remember what happened in the last chapter. I'm drawing a blank. It was so long ago. It was like 2 weeks ago, right? Normally I do a little bit of a recap here, but I can't seem to remember what happened last time. Maybe we'll get into that once we go on to page 2. But in the meantime, just a friendly reminder to those who are new or haven't really been following the channel for this long. I still read the official Viz, so if you were watching the leaks or whatever, then supposedly you probably read this chapter like a week or two ago, because I saw people talking about it online as early as like last week, on like, I want to say Monday. So I don't think I got spoiled on anything, because I didn't really listen to what they were saying, or even read anything about it. But I saw a bunch of thumbnails on YouTube of chapter 1170, and a few things that were tagged spoilers that I didn't read. So maybe something's going to happen in this chapter. Anywho. So, outside of One Piece news, we have some channel news. I am almost done editing all the backlog of streams. There's only one stream that hasn't been... Oh, fuck. That's the second right. We did a pull stream on... We streamed on New Year's Day. We had a really amazing pull stream. I guess I gotta have to edit that. After today, I'm gonna be 3 streams behind again. Well, at least it's not like they're 10 days behind. Anyway, today is, the 4th of January. A little bit of a break. It's been 3 days, I think, since we streamed. But, yeah, so most recently we did the Soul Blazers event. We streamed that. And about a week or two ago, I streamed the new story for Shadowverse, Galan's story. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And once it's edited and uploaded, feel free to go look. Although if you want to see this stuff live, you can go to twitch.tv/Sheet Streams, and that's where I do all my live content. If you want to be informed about when I'm going live, then the best way to do that would be to join the Discord. And the links to that will be where the links are. I will not insult your intelligence by making you have to know everything. You can figure some things out on your own. I have faith in you. Anywho. Well, that's enough of the intro and plugging stuff, so I guess we can start going on to reading the chapter proper. We got a reader request, so it's not super important. Nothing canon is happening on the cover page. Eel Bento being sold by Jinbei. Or it says, reader request, Jinbei as a station worker for the Eel Railroad, giving a passenger eel bentos for lunch. By 420 Land. So it's a train, it's a train eel? An eel train? That sells eel. Okay, well that's something. Glad to see Jinbei being mentioned. Also, it almost looks like all everybody's drawn in a chibi art style. Except for Robin. Okay. Well, that's enough of that. I guess we can move on to page 2 now. Because I don't want to spend too much time on page 1. There's no page 1 on page 1. For those who missed my read-through at the Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage. I think we read through almost all of that on stream, and I always made a joke whenever it didn't have page 1 on page 1, so it was a 0 out of 10. Alright, let's move on to pages 2 and 3. Oh, right, I didn't read the name of the chapter. Chapter 1170, Contrary. Contrary? Contrary. Words, English, hard to pronounce. Right! Now I remember where we left off last time. See, last time it was Harold and we got to see him get taken over by Emu. And then we left off with Loki entering the treasure room to try to get the devil fruit. And then something threw his hammer at him. Or something threw Ragnir at him. Or, yeah, threw a hammer at him. Because he already has Ragnir. So somebody threw a hammer at him. Alright. Master, who threw this hammer at me, come out and show yourself. I know they're in here. This might as well be that devil fruit now. Might as well get the devil fruit now. It's a crack crack noise. Oh, the hammer behind him is making noise now. The one that almost hit him. You gotta be kidding me. There's no way it's that heavy. Oh, the floor's gonna collapse from the hammer. Got it. Castle's falling apart or something? Okay. So he's falling through the floor because the hammer broke the floor. So much for getting to the treasure room. Was this hole in the floor here? I might have to go back and look and see if that was the case in the early chapters. Because we met Mr. Yacht here in this treasure room when Nami, was it Zoro and Luffy? Was it Nami, Zoro, Luffy that explored the castle earlier? You would think that some of this damage would still be here in the present. Anyway, that's the end of pages 2 and 3, so I guess we'll move on to 3 and 4. Sorry, 4 and 5. Page 4 and 5. Right, Shanks and Mr. Ya, or Gaban, are going to be fighting Harold. You waste your time, Loki. That devil fruit is a national treasure. It has lain dormant for centuries, not because no one chose to eat it, but because no one could eat it. Not a single one of them was chosen by Ragnir. Oh, so the hammer Loki has isn't Ragnir. The hammer he's going to get by the end of this is Ragnir. But with the strength I now possess... Okay, Harold's going to go make a run for the devil fruit as well, I guess. He suffers immense pain from his wounds. And the recovery effect is drastically slowed down. Okay. Are we about to learn how the weird regeneration gets turned off? Give him enough consecutive hits and we can manage to knock him out of commission. If these guys have any weaknesses, it's against those of us who can infuse our attacks with the color of the Supreme King. So it's just Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror's Haki plus enough damage so that you're stacking wounds on each other. Okay, so that's the plan. It's kind of boring. But then again, he's speculating at this point, so I don't know if this plan will actually work. But they can hurt him. And they still feel pain. So even if you're regenerating, if you still feel pain, being immortal doesn't seem to be such a good thing. If you haven't watched the Dungeon Soup series, go look up Immortality Killed the Lich on YouTube. That'll give you just a fun idea of why you shouldn't just be immortal by itself. There's some really bad things about being alive that if you get stuck with those things perpetually, not good. Immortality is a cool power and all, but it pairs well with other cool powers, not by itself. Alrighty, we're done with 4 and 5, so I guess we can talk about 6 and 7. No memes. We did the meme once. In chapter 1167, we did a bunch of 6-7 memes. We're not doing that anymore. No matter how much interesting stuff happens on pages 6 and 7. You dare make an enemy out of me? Okay. Of course I do. I can't let you roam free in this state of madness. How do you know the weakness of the Knights of God, Gabon? That is a good question. They came after us several times trying to take you back. Oh, so that's why Gabon has a history with the Knights. We know you have a child with red... Oh, we're going to flashback now. We know you have a child with red hair. He must be the son of our commander. Hand the boy over. Each time they did, we beat them black and blue. I wonder who those knights were. I wonder if we're going to learn their names. You mentioned it. I seem to remember that Somers guy saying something like that. Okay, it was Somers. I take that back. We kind of already knew this. Just some fond memories of the distant past. I was surprised to learn that there was a proper combat force in the Holy Land, though I assumed those celestial dragons were all chumps. Yeah, they hardly ever come down to our world. They really believe they're gods. It makes me shiver to think the life I might have had. We call that fate. I want to save Harold somehow, Gabon. Yeah, but you were the one who taught me about the despair of what it means to become a Knight of God. Seems like Loki's our only hope. We just gotta get bigger and stronger than him and then just take him down, I guess. Which, this is every single thing that Harold does here. We're gonna amp it up as a Loki feat, a Shanks feat, and a Gabon feat. That's what the power scaling community is gonna do out of this entire chapter. This chapter is just for them. And that's the end of pages 6 and 7. I don't really have much more to comment on that. It's a lot of action and a lot of talking. I like the talking, some reminiscent and memories, learning a bit about Shanks' past. It's nice to know that the Holy Knights did try to abduct him from the Roger Pirates, which means they wanted him back. That's interesting. Alrighty, pages 8 and 9. I keep telling you, get out of my way, stupid hammer. So he's being prevented from getting the devil fruit by a hammer. Does this mean that you're supposed to be the guardian of the natural treasure? How does a hammer move on its own? What's your deal anyway? Just give it a rest. Oh, he just shattered his hammer against the hammer. My hammer! He smacked the hammer with his hammer, and his hammer shattered, and then the other one went flying. And now the hammer is a squirrel? I guess it's a devil fruit. So is it an animal that ate a devil fruit that's a hammer fruit? Or is it a hammer that was given the squirrel fruit? These are the problems with devil fruit weapons that I now have to ask. Oh, cutting back to Harold. He's sending Gabon and Shanks flying. How do we end this fight? He's got a Supreme King Hockey too. That's a first. Oh, so none of the God Knights have Supreme King Hockey. So none of the God's Knights the Gabon fought other than Harold had Supreme King Hockey. Interesting. Conqueror's Hockey. No Conqueror's Hockey. Alrighty, pages 10 and 11. Ooh, a lot of black panels here. Guards, find some way to hold Harold back. We must not let Harold have that devil fruit. He's just slaughtering his own guards. Loki's still trying to get that devil fruit. I'm not entirely sure what's happening in this panel. It's like there's a ski. Somebody, I think Harold's transforming or something. And the squirrel thing's making musical noises. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Page 11 is like really hard to determine. It's just like a close-up image of a hand. Oh, I see. Loki's giving food to the squirrel. But then the other panels, I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I think Harold's turning into a giant shadow. Anyway, I think we should just move on to 12 and 13. Ooh, the paneling on this page is kind of ugly looking. A lot of thick lines. Oh, looks like Loki has eaten the devil fruit. So you ate it, Loki. And show me that legendary power. What happened? He swung at Loki, and then Loki's... Oh. There's some chunks missing out of the side of Harold. Harold's getting hit. And hit. And hit. Haha. I knew it. Loki, you possess the blood of the Supreme King. The blood of the Supreme King? What is that? Is that like a new thing? Now I'm just confused. So is hockey in people's blood? Is that what we're trying to imply here? Oh well, I can't think anymore on that, so let's just move to page 14 and 15. You're back to your senses now? Only for the moment. Don't be mistaken. Look around us. There is no undoing what I've already done. But you're being controlled. Not exactly. I suspect that my very thoughts are being influenced by someone else. I'm beginning to think of myself as a god. I know that you will do an admirable job of pulling Elbaf in your wake. Make sure you get along with your brother. Just so you know, you're the scum of the earth. Forcing your son to end your own life. Oh, that was Loki that said that. Okay. Even the lowest excuse for a father wouldn't do that. There's one other thing I forgot to say. Thank you for what you did for Ida. Why? Burning down Brewer's village won't bring her back, but I'm grateful that you felt that way. Oh, don't remind me of what happened to Ida. That was sad. Right now, before the control takes over again. I'll never forgive you for this. How dare you force me to do this dirty work? I love you too, son. Oh. Oh, lightning is striking the castle. Is that it? Is Harold dead? Only page 16 and 17 can tell me. Oh, that is an amazing panel. That's probably the thumbnail right there. And it's the final page. Loki, my son, all that matters is Elbaf's future. And we ended on a tiny little panel in the corner of the kids. Alright, next chapter we gotta cut to the kids being kidnapped or walked off the plank or whatever. Have the kids been saved yet? I don't even remember. It's been so long since the present. When we were in present day before this flashback, it was like, what was it, May? June 2025? Now we're in January 2026, and we're still in this flashback! Alright, chapter highlights. Of course, the biggest chapter highlight, this final battle of what I assume is Harold dying. Big hammer swing, straight to the gut. He is literally atomizing from lightning shooting through his body. Another big highlight was this little panel on page 6, where Gabon was recounting how the Holy Knights tried to take Shanks back from them. I think it's kind of crazy that they kept Shanks. I wonder how many times they did. Shanks was probably still a baby at that point, if Shanks himself doesn't remember that. Which means that they were really attached to that child, and they really treated him as one of their own. They were also raising Buggy, too, and that probably happened at some point. So yeah, I think it's really neat that they were raising kids on the ship, on the Oro Jackson. That's kind of something that we don't really think about all that often. That 2 kids were effectively raised on that ship as cabin boys. I can't wait till we get more of Buggy's backstory. I want to know how Buggy ended up on the Oro Jackson and how Buggy ended up on the ship of the Pirate King. We get some funny, wacky panels of the flying around hammer. Loki versus hammer. So Ragnar is a weird hammer squirrel thingy. Still no clarification on whether it's a devil fruit with a squirrel fruit, Or squirrel with a hammer fruit. No clue. Maybe I'll look into the word Ragnir in Norse mythology, and I'll probably be able to parse that in my own time. There's also just a really funny image of Loki's hammer shattering up above this panel at the top of page 9. Like, after the hammers clash with each other, his hammer shattered. But the reaction shot to that is just funny. Ah, my hammer! There's so much going on in some of these action panels that it's really hard to parse what's going on. But it looks like Loki tamed the squirrel. He gave the squirrel something, and then he's eating the devil fruit, which is actually hard to see. Actually, I'm now realizing that one of those panels on page 11 is actually Loki holding the devil fruit. I didn't initially recognize it because it's fucking tiny in the palm of his hand. You can barely see it. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. It's not drawn in a way where I can really look at it. And then we get this weird scatterplot of panels of the final battle between Loki and HARALD, which, strangely enough, Gabon and Shanks kind of just disappear from the chapter at this point. Like, from page 10 onwards, there's just no Shanks and Gabon anymore. Where did they go? Now, why did none of them see the end of the fight with HARALD? Did HARALD just, like, golf clubs swing them off the island or something? They should be here watching this. And then we end on the big swing. I love you too, son. HARALD is going to go down as one of the best flashback characters of all time, for sure. That being said, this is also Loki narrating this flashback, so we don't know how much of this is Loki telling the truth, or how much of this is even, if it's being fabricated. Though I don't think Oda has done it in a flashback yet, where he's made a flashback that was fake. If he has, I don't remember it. So I'm going to probably just assume everything that's happening here is true. How Loki is telling it in the present, who knows? Let's get into predictions. There's a very non-zero possibility that next week's chapter is Bandaged Loki literally just reiterating what we saw in this chapter. And that's all he's doing. Is saying, in like 3 or 4 text bubbles, a Cliff Notes version of like these last 2 chapters. And that is very likely going to happen. Probably going to eat up at least 2 pages. I think we're done with the flashback. We might get one portion of a chapter just to resolve the flashback. Because we don't get like a narration. Like, I feel like this would have been an appropriate chapter to put like an Oda box at the end. That said like something along the lines of, and thus, HARALD, King of the Giants, was slain by his son, or something or other. And maybe we'll get that at the start of the next chapter. But there's not a lot of narration in this one. There was, I think, 0 Oda boxes in this entire chapter. Yeah, there were none. There was no narration boxes. Not even telling us what the devil fruit is. We still don't know what devil fruit Loki has. We know that the hammer has a devil fruit, or the squirrel has a hammer fruit. And as for what else can I predict that might be coming up next? I think we're still not done with the flashback. We got at least maybe half a chapter at most before we're done. And frankly, once we get back to the future and the present, maybe we can figure out. Oh, I guess we don't need to figure out. It's just Conqueror's Hockey. The boring Occam's razor answer wins again. The way you deal with the Holy Knights is you just hit them hard. Hit them with enough damage that the pain slows their regeneration. So that you can just kill them. Is anyone else, when they see those like weird panels, those weird speech bubbles with like the lines that you know that this is like a mental thought and it's not a, it's a thought panel, and I'm hearing Harold's voice in my head, and it's the voice of Arthas's father from World of Warcraft. That's the voice I'm hearing in my head right now. Loki, my son, all that matters is Elbaf's future. The cries of your people will be resounding. You know, I'm actually surprised we're not going to get too many parallels to World of Warcraft or similar media. It's a big franchise at this point. I'm sure Oda will reference World of Warcraft at some point, if he hasn't already. And I guess we're going to start unleashing Ragnarok in the present day. Loki might have to burn the tree down, or we're going to start seeing lightning flying. Will they free Loki to deal with the problem, or will they just leave Loki in chains? Because in the present day, he's kind of incapacitated. That being said, if he is able to kill Holy Knights, he would be a very valuable asset. So it's very beneficial to bring him along. And I'm pretty sure that Luffy, this might be enough for Luffy to trust him, assuming Luffy listened to any of this and didn't just pick their nose. Because Loki has a bad history of not listening to people's backstories. Luffy so rarely actually listens to backstories. But if we give Luffy a cliff notes, hey, we need you to punch this one guy really, really hard, and that'll make everything better. Or I guess Gunko. Punch Gunko, because Gunko is currently being used as a vessel. So yeah, somebody's going to probably have to summarize this to Luffy in like 1 or 2 sentences, or how does Loki iterate this in a way where Luffy understands it. You gotta go punch this guy. That might be enough, to be honest. Anywho, that's it for this. A little bit of a shorter chapter. It's only 17 pages. A lot of action panels, a lot of big panels. There's a double-page spread on the final pages that I'm definitely going to be using for the thumbnail. But I guess I'll see you next week. Hopefully it's not a break week. Maybe we'll hold a discussion. I do have a chat on the Discord where I do keep open to people that want to talk about spoilers. If you want to talk with me about what your interpretations of what might be happening next, feel free. And as a reminder, if you're watching this on YouTube like the day or two after I've streamed it, you can always read it along with me on the Viz website, because the 3 to 4 most recent chapters will always be up there for free for anyone to read. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm on Viz. I'm reading the Viz official translations. And sometimes they're not accurate, but for the most part, you gotta live with that. Anywho, so we're gonna switch gears here. We're gonna end this stream, and we'll be back shortly with another stream that I keep delaying and keep delaying. But it's probably gonna be another short stream. I have some content in Genshin that I need to get to, because the longer I put it off, the longer I won't get around to starting it, and it's time locked so that you can only do it in fifths. You can do it. You have to log in every day and do it bit by bit. We're just gonna stream the start of it, and then the rest of it will get done offline, and I'm gonna have to figure out a creative way to edit it all together. Anywho, that's what we're doing next. Stick around if that's what you're here for. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next stream. Ta-ta.